Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem, a postmortem of my Blitz game number 291. I was black here, and after e4, e5, bishop no, bishop c4 rather, the bishop's opening, I decided to play a gambit here. I'd been asked to play the Latvian gambit, so I was trying to play that again, but of course this move, bishop c4, technically it's not the Latvian gambit at this point. The normal move here is knight f3, just attacking the pawn. So but I play the move f4 anyway, and it turns out, I look it up later, this has a name. This is called the Calabrese counter gambit, and it's reminiscent of the Greco counter gambit, which is the old name of the Latvian gambit, in that you put this pawn up here. Oh, by the way, Calabria is the region in Italy that Greco is from. So probably, I'm guessing that he analyzed both of these openings in his book about 400 years ago. So very old opening. Let's see. Wikipedia. The Wikipedia article says this gambit is considered dubious as the line recommended by Karl Jaenisch gives white the advantage. So let's first of all, let's take a look at that line. That line goes d3, knight f6, just developing. So just not bothering to take right away, just defending the e-pawn, which is often an idea. If you, in the Schliemann gambit in the Ruy-Lopez, black plays an early f4 against the Ruy-Lopez, and the best response is to defend the pawn rather than to take and open things up. So far so good. Then the line goes knight f3. Oh no, it doesn't go. See, after d3, knight f6, the line goes f4. And actually, this is not such a great move because black can play knight c6 and get a decent position here. But the line given by Wikipedia is d6, knight f3, and it says that this gives white the advantage. But, it shows the problem in chess of relying on old analysis. So Karl Jaenisch was analyzing this in the days before computers. So I don't believe his analysis is entirely sound here. And with knight c6, I think black gets a decent game. So f4 is not a good idea here. But d3 is not a bad idea. I should probably just follow up with knight f3, and that's a way for white to play and try and get some advantage. It's immediately putting some pressure on the e-pawn here, and let's see. Knight c6 is probably the best way for black to defend, and the game would go on from there. So I don't want to get into a lengthy bunch of variations. Okay, it looks like I lost my game here. Let's back up and go forward, back to the game. Okay, so it was e4, e5, bishop c4, f5, and my opponent played the very natural move, e takes f5. And if we take a look at the opening book, back up one move, e takes f5 is not the most common response here. Yeah, let's show one more line. If you play knight f3 immediately, this just transposes into into the Latvian gambit, which is actually you get this very interesting line of the Latvian gambit where black goes for a wild counterattack and white is attacking here. So very interesting and sharp position, which favors white with best play, but it's complicated and black has chances. So that's if you don't mind playing the Latvian gambit, then you shouldn't be afraid of this Calabrese counter gambit either. Okay, so back to the game. My opponent took here. Back one more. My opponent took here on f5, and still leaves white with some advantage. So nothing awful is going on. And knight f6 is recommended by the opening book and also by the chess engine. I've never seen this position before, so knight f6 seems reasonable. But I thought this might be interesting. And, it attacks the bishop, but he gets his queen check. So, okay, we're completely out of the opening book, so let's just look at the game. And still, this is the kind of stuff that happens in these gambits. I'm not really worried. He's got to do something about his bishop. He drops back to b3, which turns out to be a good move. I develop my knight to f6, harassing his queen. If I get enough quick development, it can compensate for my awkward king position here. But I do have to worry about being squashed. He plays queen to h4, already a slightly inaccurate move, but still with advantage to black. I mean white, still with advantage to white. I take the pawn, knight f3, knight f3, hitting my e-pawn. A little bit awkward. I defend. I should play. For some reason, yeah, I've been resisting playing this natural move, knight c6. And I play the move queen d6, holding onto the pawn that way. And now he goes knight c3, best move again. And it's just hard for me to hold on to all the pawns in the center. They're coming under sharp attack. I try knight c6. And then he just plays knight takes d5. Once again, the best move. So he's playing pretty well here. There's also a couple good moves, and he could try bishop d5 here. Okay, but knight takes d5 check. I guess it's an obvious move. It's just winning the pawn. He's got too much force there, and I can't defend everything. So I drop back. I play king to d8, and then he takes my pawn. Knight takes f6, and I play bishop e7. So the engine says I should just take the pawn back. So somehow this didn't work out. Let's see what goes wrong. Bishop e7. I thought I would be winning the knight with a tempo here, but he plays knight g5, and now queen takes f6 is a good way to play, it says. Aha! Okay, queen takes f6. I play bishop takes because I thought that after he checks me, I play here, and then he takes my queen, and I take his queen, and I just did not look deep enough. There's one more take here, and white comes out a piece up. so that was what was wrong with my plan. So instead of taking with the bishop in this position, if I take with the queen, actually black has already more than equalized and now has the advantage. So it just shows how quickly things can turn in these sharp positions, and why people can continue to play them even if the chess engine is laughing at you. Remember, your opponent is a real person and not a chess engine. So, so if you want to have some fun with these gambits, go ahead. They're probably a little more successful in blitz games than they are in in long games. But even in long games, sometimes you can get into some interesting situations. Okay, so this is the way the game went, and I'm just a piece down here. So I'm trying for some tricks. You know, I'm taking here, so when he takes back, I get a pin on the knight, and he can defend, but I can counterattack. So I'm going to get my piece back, but I'm still a piece down after all this. He plays king g3, I take, he takes, and rook takes f5. Yeah, so somehow I got something back there. Maybe, okay, it says rather than moving the king, d3 is the best way to play. Okay, that's kind of a subtle difference. This seems fine. I mean, he's still a piece up, but I did manage to win a point back somehow. Okay, so c3, I play my rook over, doubling my rooks and hoping for some threats against his king. I wanted to play my rook to this square, but unfortunately his well-placed bishop on b3 here is guarding that critical square. So I thought, well, at least I'll double on the f-file. He played bishop to d5 here. And all right, after this one move, it's already a draw. And I play the right move here. I play knight e7 to gain a tempo. I need to get my pieces over towards his king. And so his only way to keep the draw is to retreat the bishop back to b3. So once again, it's an example of how difficult it can be. How difficult it can be to play these very sharp positions. And so, actually, the chess engine, after second thought, says this is already losing. So back up. When was he losing then? Okay, so this bishop d5 was the losing move right here. You know, it's a very natural-looking move. It's not so easy to see why it's losing, except that, well, I don't have to let him take my bishop and my knight. I mean, obviously, White's just trying to exchange pieces and just win with his extra material. But he has neglected the development of his bishop. So we back up one square. Well, the engine says bishop back to d1 or d3. So d3, I would say, is the most natural kind of human move to maintain the win for White. Just open up the diagonal for his dark squared bishop, get it out, get the rooks in the game, and go on to win. So this move, bishop d5, looks good on the surface, attempting to trade pieces, but actually it's a losing move. So I play the right move. knight e7. He retreats his bishop to g2, and now there's a mate in 8. So I mate in 6. Okay, so I start out with rook g8, which is what I've been planning to play anyway, and his king only has 2 squares. If he goes to h3, I mate immediately. So let's take a look at the other one. He can go to h4. And I don't know if I would have found this. I had noticed that knight to g6 check, okay, that also leads to a mate, would force his king back somewhere awkward. But the fastest mate from here is rook f4, which I also had been thinking about. I don't know if it's hard to find a mate like that sometimes. So he can go in 2 directions. He can go to h3, in which case the knight can come into f5, and we're threatening checkmate here. With no way to stop it. This is just a nuisance check from the bishop, and then he's getting mated. Something like an Arabian mate, actually, with the rook there and the knight guarding the escape. Although the main role of the knight in this case is to support the rook because the other rook guards the escape. Okay, and if he goes in the other direction with his king to h5, then knight to f5 again, and his king is completely boxed in. He has no moves. So he makes a move like h4 to protect this square. Rook to g6. Okay, so I'm just going to go up and over. The rook is coming here to mate him. Well, no, it's not so simple. Let's see. So if he does the nothing move, the mate is knight g3. Okay, that's what it is. So the rook has his king completely boxed in, and knight g3 is a mate. Also knight g7 would be a mate, right? Say if he just makes a nothing move. Yeah, knight g7 is a mate. Okay, so his king is just out of squares and you mate with the knight. So some pretty mates on the side of the board there. So my opponent played king h3 and I was able to mate immediately with this move, rook h5, and that's how it ended. So a quicker end, but he was already losing at that point. So interesting game. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.